We interrupt this program to bring you a special news. We interrupt this program to bring you a
This
special
broadcast to bring you this important bulletin from the United Press. Bring you this important bulletin from the United Press.
This is not a test. Every Tuesday, the Journey into Comics Network will bring you The Poor Rapport, your one-stop podcast shop for everything news and topics of personal interest. I am your host, Andrew Poor, and you can hear me every Tuesday.
The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics, the podcast about everything nerd, with your hosts, Nate Phillips and Brandon Stone.
We've come a long way from the Prime Minister's exploding cake. Or have we?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Journey into Comics. It's episode 161, and I'm your host, Nate. As always, joining me today, the guy who's always asleep for the danger and awake for the money per freaking usual, Brando. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, my friend. We are together once again in foreign territory, kind of. We're in a different studio setup entirely.
Studio R?
I don't know. Studio G, because she's the one that really set this up, I guess. But we have like what would be considered podcast mania today. Coming off like a 2-day bender of Walk Among Us playing two different shows in Fort Wayne and Indy. Yeah. Now you're getting up early with like 2 hours of sleep.
Pretty much, yeah. It was awesome.
I got a nice healthy 6.5.
Man, I wish. In the past 2 days, I don't think I have 6.5 hours of sleep.
Dude, all right. So we went over to the Covered Bridge Festival yesterday with my mom. I haven't been since I was a kid.
Is that like in Covington?
No, that is in Bridgeton.
Okay.
Sure. First weekend. It starts on a Thursday and ends like the following Sunday or whatever is the last day.
All right.
It's always in the fall, so it's typically kind of chilly weather. You know, might be a little bit of like damp, rainy. Basically, think of it as a gigantic
rummage sale.
Like vendors. And
Okay.
It's like what we used, like what we'd have at the Sweet Corn Festival. Those tents. The whole thing is like that. Bunch of different food, steaks, barbecue, all kinds of stuff. All right.
Man, I bet the Covered Bridge Festival
cannoli.
Holy cannoli.
And then there's antiques. Like there were so many cool antiques. And then they just have your typical fair stuff. They were doing helicopter rides for $20. They would lift you up and like fly you around the whole thing.
Fuck that.
But yeah, dude, we were leaving. We saw this little kid. We're like, he's about ready to get the ride of his life. But okay, so we did all that, and we had a great time. Met up with my mom. Haven't seen her since Wyatt's birthday, and he hadn't seen her. So, it was really important to we got to spend time with family.
That's great, man.
And took him. My mom was telling me when she first started going, like, part of it is in Rockville, Indiana.
Okay.
And there's like a whole square. It's like the same kind of thing. And then if you go down about maybe 5-6 miles down this windy country road, you'll get to Bridgeton, which is even smaller, but it has a real covered bridge you can walk through. And they have like some really cool scenery. Like,
sweet.
Straight out of a Bob Ross painting almost. And
happy little trees.
Happy little trees and little streams and
all little birds here. Any mistakes or not mistakes, they're happy little birds.
Yeah, it was just really beautiful. And my mom said that back when she first started coming down here, it was just a few people with some fold-out tables. And now it's like we didn't even get to see the whole thing. Poor Boy was there.
Yeah, that was crazy. I saw you guys were interacting and like, I didn't see you there. That's
hell
crazy.
No, dude. Like there was when we got there, we were about like a half mile out when we were in stop traffic waiting to park.
Wow.
And then when we left, that line was like 1.5 miles back.
So this weekend for both of us has been a weekend of lots of crowds of people.
Yes. Now, see, yesterday we did that. We met my mom in Attica, drove down, drove back, dropped her off, came back. I made steak dinner.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
I made a steak dinner for the wife.
Okay,
so we did that.
Medium rare?
It was about medium. Yeah, medium rare.
Okay, that's perfect.
I like mine like basis and medium. If I go medium, little well, it's still good. Medium rare, it's good as well. If it's too well, I only like that when it's like the morning after leftovers.
Yeah, has some time to develop all those flavors that just sit.
But I mean, like when you're heating it back up. For me, when I heat up leftover steak, and I got this from my dad, and it's just how I like it. I put it in a bowl, and I put some Worcestershire sauce in there for some extra liquid.
Okay.
So it sits in there, and it heats up, and then it kind of like stews a little bit with the Worcestershire. Okay. Then I take them out of that. You don't have to if you don't want to. Sprinkle just droplets of A1. And see, here's the thing. I've actually talked to people who look at me with like evil glare when I mention A1 sauce. Like, good steaks don't need it. I'm like, yes, you're right. Absolutely. But it still adds pizzazz. It's like a French fry without ketchup. You can eat French fries without ketchup.
And sometimes it's preferred that way.
Exactly. But like, I'm not saying that you drown it in it. Absolutely not. What you do is you just like drizzle, and so that way it's not overpowering anything. You're still getting the absolute flavor of the steak,
and then an element of surprise, a little bonus.
It's like a little bit of salt or something.
Yeah.
For me. And see, last night with that steak, like the A1 melted with eventually went in with all the different steak juices that were sitting on my plate. So I just was like bathing it all around, and the saltiness of the A1 kind of like wore away, and it was more of just like a stew of liquid. Did all that, made love, fell asleep, woke up here, came here to do a show. Well, still got 6.5 hours of sleep. That is the most epic win of my weekend right there, is the fact that I did all of that and still got enough sleep.
That's awesome. It's hilarious to me that is not only a full win for you, but that it's awesome to me that you had this like cool weekend with your family and you got to catch up with your mom and stuff. And there's been a lot going on in your family, so it's really good to get quality time. And for me, today is that for me, I'm getting to see all of my family and really not just in the podcasting world, but like the people that I do genuinely care about the most are all going to be in the same place at some point today. And that is a terrifying prospect to me, but I think this is like a test run for a concept we're coming up with for episode 200.
Somewhat, yeah, because we kind of want to do something big for 200. We did something big for 50, and then for 100. 150 was not as big, but it was more.
We were reflecting, and it was like we were going back to basics before the whole change that we didn't even know we were doing.
That we didn't even do until we didn't even. It was like the 2 days before episode 151. By the way, we're doing all these changes.
You were like, "Come down just today. You need to come down this weekend. We're doing a thing." And I was like, "We are," and he's like, "Yeah." Brandon's like, "Yeah, we're gonna work on some stuff and get the Patreon going and get the network up and stuff." And I think maybe a day before I came down, you told me, you were like, "Hey, I just want to let you know this is a thing now." And you sent me to journeyintocomics.com, which was awesome. So that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, we actually got it figured out while you were down there.
Yeah,
I said, because I was trying to get it figured out for the .com to take over our .podbean.com.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working. Well, I had to go and get support, and she went click, click, click. Here you go. And then we saw it.
Podbean support is awesome, by the way.
It is, dude. They're awesome.
Like we've had some different issues, but they come through. It's solid. I just want to brief you with a little bit of an update on what my weekend was like, because
absolutely,
in the world of music and podcasting and stuff, this is one of those weekends that you caution yourself to talk too much about, because it's just a notch in the belt. But it was definitely, Veronica and I talked about this on the Journey into Comics episode, and Sarah and I have talked about this, the whole leveling up concept as a band. Yeah. At some point, things happen, and it just, you step up to the next level. So we are in Fort Wayne, and we get there a little bit later than we would have liked. We had to get some stuff, and the three of us, because we're without a bass player this weekend.
I saw that. You were without Rob.
He's in Disney World. So I have no remorse for him. He's having a great time, and I'm glad he's getting some. He's also getting this. It's all about family time this weekend, apparently.
Well, I mean, like you knew about that.
Well, no and yes.
Okay.
Because what happened was, we booked the show and agreed to the Friday the 13th show, which was a huge deal for us. Like not just that it was a Friday the 13th show, but the lineup was just like
Lurking Corpses was on there.
Lurking Corpses,
the Jasons,
and Mumula. Those dudes are incredible. They're surf punk, and they dress like mummies.
Okay, but so I remember you saying like a while ago that your October filled up a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. I think it was July. We got almost every date for October booked, and we booked the Friday the 13th show because Rob said, book October, it's cool. He had nothing on his plate as far as he could remember. He's a very busy person, you know. So, hey, guys, got this cool show Friday the 13th. Everyone says good. Hour later, Rob's like, nope, you're going to have to say we can't do it. And I was like, what? He's like, don't you guys remember I'm going to Disney World? And I was like, you are? And he's like, dude, my family's been planning this trip for 3 years. I thought I told you guys. And I was like, I don't think you told us. And if you did, you told us so early in the inception of the band that there was no fucking chance for anybody to remember, because when the band started, there was not even a guaranteed prospect we'd be gigging more than one show. So to go back to Friday night, we get to Fort Wayne, and we sold it out, dude.
Awesome.
First ever sellout show, which was crazy. It was like
It's a hell of a bill, too.
It was, oh my God, the show was amazing. There were so many, like all 4 acts on that card were perfect. We started the show off. We set the tone. It was crazy. We played our first song, silence. We stunned the crowd. They were all just like open jawed, just like, what?
Now, were you afraid that that you had just stunk up the joint?
Yeah, and they hated it, and like we kind of like looked at each other, and I was like, okay, next song, and we just went into it. But as soon as we started the second song, which I think was "I Turned Into a Martian," everyone was singing, and it was just like the vibe was building in the place.
You know, I kind of feel like with you guys, it's always a matter of they don't know what to expect.
Never.
And then when they do it, like when you play and they go, and there's like almost kind of like that confused puppy dog head cock thing.
They have to like process what they've just heard.
Exactly, because like this is Misfits, but it's not what I know.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the Misfits. And you guys do such a good job of replicating the Misfits sound, in my opinion, making it sound better.
Yeah, we try to polish it, because if you listen to old Misfits, like live stuff, they're really sloppy. Like, I don't think anyone has ever heard the Misfits as CD quality as the Misfits have sounded. Not to be shitty to the Misfits, it's just their style. They get up, they go on stage, they rip through their set, they play every song 3 times as fast as they recorded it, and that's got to just be awful.
It's the punk mindset too, which I know Sarah can be very like her own worst enemy when it comes to like messing up. Yeah, she could do. She's almost kind of like the concept of how society treats people. Okay, where like here's your life, you know, A to B, and you are now a rocket scientist. For this 1 year, you did something really shitty. Okay, and like you like failed to pay child support for a year. Okay. You were on hard times. You weren't quite yet the rocket scientist that you became. You in training. You were like a rocket intern. Okay. So you weren't really making any money.
So would you call yourself a rocketeer?
Maybe. Okay. But the thing is that then it's like, well, then he, you know, this people focus on the one negative thing. Sarah, when she's such a perfectionist that when she like it's almost like if you were to make a painting, and then or if she's making a painting, or which I know that she does, but like let's say
metaphorically,
let's say she's painting with Bob Ross.
Okay, sure.
And then she makes one small like. Sometimes I can definitely see her in the way of like not to roll with that, but to go,
how could I do that?
You know, rip it up, start over.
Yeah.
But like her attention to that detail is what leads the sound of Walk Among Us to be so good and to be so different and to be so polished. When I went and saw you guys last, she was focused on something that she messed up on.
Oh, that was our first time we played How the Gods Kill.
And I said it sounded great. She goes, did it? I mean, really, did it? I'm like, it sounded fantastic. She goes, there's this one spot I messed up on. I'm like, that's punk. And she goes, you're right. And then she dropped it. Well, then because she was also riding high because of that was such a great show, and certain close people, family saw you guys for the first time. Yeah. But you know, I'm so excited for this whole week because, you know, if there's one thing sometimes I don't like to do is announce things when they have a potential to fall through.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm not saying that this had a potential to fall through. I'm saying that I'm like, I don't want to promise something and then not deliver.
It was, okay, literally this weekend that we have planned has been a circus that started really small. Okay, it didn't involve Brando or anyone else at all, okay? Because Poor Boy hits me up and he goes, hey, man, I'm going to be in the central Illinois area on Saturday, the 14th, and I know you guys are playing Indianapolis. What are you doing before that? And I was like, oh, we're going to be in recoup mode. I don't know really what the plan is. You know, we're going to hang out. But Sunday, we don't have anything going on. And he goes, well, why don't we try to get with Blaine and do like Podcastrophe and Poor Report or something? And I was like, the Poorcastrophe, and have a Poor Dick Day. That's what they said. So, okay, it's like, okay, sure. But that's where it started. It was just going to be those two shows, me being kind of a featured guest as the quote-unquote podfather, if you will, and just like being a part of that experience. And I kind of didn't bore of that idea, but I was just like, no, like everybody who's a part of the network except for four people, really 2 people are going to be here. Why can't we just make everyone come here? And if this plays out today, by the time we record the last podcast of the day, which will come out a week from the time this drops, a week and 2 days, next Wednesday.
Some of these episodes are going to be staggered a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit bizarre, but it's all going to kind of play out really perfectly. If we can pull this off, we will have had everybody on the network recording something at the same time in a day and have, let's see, is it 3? It's 5 shows, 6 shows if you include JIC that record today on our network. And we're going to mostly all be in the same space. That's incredible to me.
It is, and we had a few issues with location. We got that figured out.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're here, and we are here to record, first of all, Journey into Comics, which is what this has been, just us just lamenting, which is, you know what? Okay, so this last episode that I did with Mike on Game Addicts, he looked at me and goes, this is the least amount of time that we've talked about gaming ever on this show. I'm like, that's okay.
That's podcasting.
Well, because it's like we have a theme. Each show has its theme. When I think about podcasting, I think about theme. Sometimes you're going to spend so much talking about that theme. And there's other times where you like look at each other and go, we don't have shit to talk about this week.
No, we really don't. I mean, as far as like podcasting news in the comic book world, there's not a ton of stuff to talk about, but there's like a couple trailers. So it's like now's a really nice time to, even if this is a kind of shorter episode, to just discuss. It's really funny, Brando. I don't know if you're aware of this, but 10 episodes ago, we were together on a podcast on 151. Mm-hmm. And actually, since 150, I think it's almost even the amount of times we've been on the show together in person as it was.
It has increased.
Over Skype.
It definitely has increased. Now, Nate, we're gonna watch 2 trailers.
Yeah,
because we're gonna watch the one that neither one of us have seen, and then we're gonna watch the Last Jedi trailer, which I've seen 5 times.
I've only watched it once.
Okay, so it'll be cool to sit back and kind of absorb it again.
Absolutely,
but. I got reminded of this video that I saw. This is, I think, a year-old video. This dude smokes a Carolina Reaper. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. I sent this to Caitlin. So he puts this dried Carolina Reaper into a bong.
Okay.
And takes some hits off of it.
Oh, my God.
And his reaction kills me.
Okay. Please.
So this is like a 2-minute-long video.
Sure, I don't mind. Okay, he's got the... Okay.
All right, hold on, buddy. I'm actually going to turn up the brightness because I have my brightness down.
I totally appreciate that. Okay. So he's got a nice looking piece, of course.
I'm sorry.
Internet connection drama.
I'm not on their internet, that's why.
Oh, get on the level. By the way, I wanted to say I love your Invincible Iron Kid shirt.
You know what?
It's a beautiful crossover.
I got this shirt a couple years ago.
I think I've seen it maybe once. All right, are we back to the video? Let's check it out. Okay.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna rip a chunk off of this.
Doesn't want to turn for you.
No, but that's fine. It doesn't need to.
Stuff it in there. Ooh, it's nice and oily.
So.
I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be able to long rip this whole thing. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I think Butt Stuff needs to talk about this.
I totally
Only
agree.
live once, and this is the first time I've ever been scared to do something on YouTube.
I would be terrified.
I've seen a lot of weird shit with the Carolina Reaper, and this terrifies me that this person tried to do this, because you're literally putting the capsaicin from that Reaper
into your lungs.
I told you guys I was going out with a bang this year.
Holy shit, he's terrified. You can actually see it on his face here. That's a fucking... Is that a huge-ass lighter? Or is that just like regular size? Or does he have tiny little hands?
Alright, here we go. Here it is.
He hit it again. You are so stupid. Oh, water's not gonna help, bro. It's in your lungs. It's not gonna help you, dumbass. You can't get water in your lungs. What are you thinking? He's chugging the fuck out of this water bottle, and he's panicking. It looks like he maybe has snot coming out of his nose. He's pained right now is the word. He is injured. Injured is the word. If you cough, bro, you're dead. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, it hurts so much worse because now it's in your throat. Man. And they say coughing makes you 10 times more higher. He's slobbering down his face now. This is incredible. I mean, look, I can't say that I've not been guilty of, like, almost vomiting sometimes in my life, but that's a different...
The look on his face, the sheer panic. Oh, no. Oh, no.
It was like, as soon as the smoke hit his lungs, it was like, you fucked up.
Have you seen the Ross Marquand doing impressions?
That's the dude from The Walking Dead.
Yes, he plays Aaron. Yeah. And this is a casting thing where he does impressions of a person that he can do an impression of, doing like lines from another movie.
Okay, sure, I love this.
All right, hold on.
Random videos.
Yeah, well, we're gonna watch the trailers, but I just opened up my Facebook and it's like, well, there we go. We got something else we can do. So this is Ross Marquand. I think it's Marquand or Marquand.
I think
is there a D on there?
Great
actually, dude, funny guy.
He is hilarious.
I had no idea he could do this many.
Okay, sure.
Then this many this well. So you don't really need like a play-by-play. Okay. Because he's just going to be sitting there talking.
Sure, yeah.
But what we may do is we'll say what movie he's going to be doing with the voice.
Okay.
Because some of you may not absolutely get it because it'll say it on the bottom of the screen.
But we're not going to. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Are you talking to me? Then who else you talk? You talking to me? Okay, well, I'm the only one here. So who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
That is John C. Reilly, Taxi Driver.
That's awesome.
Someday, and that day may never come, I'll call upon you to do a service for me. But until that day comes, accept as justice.
I have an ad. Are you serious? There's an ad.
Really?
Yes. I just muted it.
Wow, nice save, Brando. It looks like it's an ad for
The Evil Within 2.
Oh, I never finished The Evil Within 1.
I never started it.
I have it. I got it for like $10 at GameStop. It was brand new.
It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Hugh McGregor.
If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it.
Nicholson taken.
I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And, I'll kill you.
Yeah, so 1,100 men went into the water.
Jaws.
316 men come out. All the sharks, they took the rest. June the 29th, 1945. And I want my sharks.
No wire hangers. Come on. What's wire hangers doing in this closet? I told you. No wire hangers ever. Come on. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
I want you to draw me like one of your French girls.
John Malkovich. It's hilarious.
Wearing only this.
Breathe in through the nose.
Marlon Brando.
Wax on. Wax off. Don't forget to breathe. It's very important.
Now, you boys, put those guns down. Go ahead. Make my
Kevin
day.
Spacey.
I could have had class. I could have been a contender instead of being a bum, which is what I am.
Shut up. Shut up. You had me at hello. I told that crowd 1,000 times that I don't roll on Shabbos. Saturday, Tony, is Shabbos, the Jewish day of rest. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, Will. Will, go down to the Goodwill store because I want you to stop being such a sad sap. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
I see dead people. They're walking around like regular people. They don't see each other. They only see what they want to see. They don't know they're dead. They're everywhere. Wow.
Have you ever seen, I think I probably talked about it like 80 times. Have you ever seen I Know That Voice? It was on Netflix for a long time. It was a documentary about voice actors, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that I found interesting about watching Ross Marquand, that's a little bit of a tongue twister there, is that one thing he does extra good is not only does he try to talk the character, he is physically acting as the character and trying to be the embodiment of him.
The faces?
Yeah. He does a really good job, man.
Well, that's almost what you have to do.
Yeah.
To get a really good impression. If you notice, what was the guy's name? Frank Caliendo.
Yeah.
He face morphs.
Yeah, he does.
Like when he's doing George W. Bush.
Or when
he just gets this look in his face.
Madden is hilarious.
Absolutely.
Too.
I love that.
Golden.
Anyway, we're going to watch The Last Jedi trailer. Of course, this trailer came out 1 week ago.
Spoilers. Okay, I should guess because I haven't seen the numbers. I'm going to guess how many millions of YouTube hits it has.
Official Star Wars channel version.
Okay, per that. I'm going to guess 27 mil.
29 million.
Damn, not bad. I want to say it was like at 12 when I watched.
Well, some of these have been re-uploaded through other channels and all this.
People just trying to get feed hits.
Well, but then they have like extended
reviews.
Let's talk over this. The original official teaser trailer that came out 6 months ago has 41 million.
Holy shit, Batman!
But I've seen this trailer 4 or 5 times now. You've seen it once.
Once it was like the next morning after it aired on Monday Night Football.
Okay. I was still awake, and it was already online after like 10, and between 10 and 10:30. So I was like laying in bed like,
okay, just fucking watch it.
All right, here we go.
Okay, sure.
We're going to play this and do some commentary over it, things that we notice.
Yeah.
Because obviously we don't just want to play the whole thing and let it just play.
Yeah, be silent and then get flagged. Hey, why are you using the audio from our shit?
You can't use our trailer. This is a review. So we're gonna do it this way.
Okay, cool. I'm excited. Official trailer. Flashback to Luke.
When I found
No, that's not. That was Kylo, I think.
Oh.
Now hold on. Did you notice these new walkers?
They're like at pluses.
Well, like look at them. They're like walking on their knuckles.
They look more like gorillas now.
Yeah.
That's weird. They've got that one has like a thing coming out of its dome. Like is that like some sort of like what do you call those things? You ram them into doors.
Oh, like a ram?
Yeah, ram. Is that what it's called?
I don't know what else you would call it.
Okay,
Anyway,
sure.
I just wanted to notice that they're walking on their knuckles.
Okay. Okay, that's Kylo with a bunch of flame troopers sort. New lightsaber?
No, that's the same one.
Was it black sheathed? I thought it was silver in the first movie.
You may be right.
Rey having
Luke's.
Yeah.
I like the score.
Yeah. God, this movie's gorgeous.
Handing the saber to Luke with the cyborg arm.
Kind of sucks because that's what the payoff to Force Awakens is. They just put it in the trailer.
And I need help.
She's training with lightsaber.
Who you realize she's talking to in this trailer, though? Hot damn.
I've seen this raw strength only once before.
Yeah.
It didn't scare me enough then.
It didn't scare me enough then.
Vader.
It does now. No, it's Kylo.
Oh, okay, I see.
Kylo destroyed his Jedi temple.
Correct.
He, Ben. Ben was he was one of his students. Ben fell. Ben came in with the Knights of Ren, destroyed the temple, And from what I understand, possibly they killed some of Luke's students.
Damn.
And Ben tried to murder Luke himself.
Damn. And that's why Luke exiles himself. He essentially is going off the grid.
And what can only be, what we imagine is that she was there.
Okay.
And he took her to safety. Didn't want to bring her with him. Obviously, too much force in one place. He can do the old Obi-Wan and be like, stay here in exile. Obviously, Luke feels like he failed. What I think Luke is talking about here is that he saw that raw strength in Ben before he turned. And it didn't frighten him then.
He was excited thinking that the Jedi had gained another power to the light side. Somebody that could help keep balance.
But now that he sees it here, he's seeing it all over again.
And in Luke's... See, this is interesting about this trailer so far. We're like not even really halfway through it. Is that even in this, it seems that Luke is training her reluctantly, which is interesting. But not only is he training her reluctantly, he doesn't see her as Jedi or Sith in this point. He's not looking at titling this. He just sees it as a power source.
All right, so we're going to hit play.
Sure.
And continue this. Here's Kylo in the elevator. He throws the helmet. He's in his new fighter. They're teasing here that he's going after Leia, his mom.
Yeah.
And that he's hesitating.
Which, wouldn't that be totally, legit fucked up if that was the thing all along? And they have not been able to, porgs. Yeah, we should talk about that too.
Well, before we get to the porgs, it's already been revealed that the archetype for these movies is going to be that the focal point for the old characters in the first movie is going to be Han. Second movie is going to be Luke. Third movie is going to be Leia. So she was going to get through this movie.
Does that change?
I don't know.
And do you think that now they're gonna have to? I mean, that's weird because now what do you do in your third movie? Because unless the estate of Carrie Fisher allows them to do like they did in Rogue One as a way to quote unquote resurrect her,
they have already said
that
they have given the studio permission to do that. The studio is refusing.
Well, I love that.
They don't want to do that. They don't want to just
in her image,
or continue this just because it's what we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm conjecturing here. I think that may have been part of some of the friction between Kathleen Kennedy and the original director for 9.
Oh,
that's my opinion. I don't know. I haven't read anything. I've heard anything. I'm just trying to think of it. I'm like, what? Their big hang-up was story and script, and them wanting changes, and then there was some confliction. He got out. In comes JJ to make the 9th movie. They have to rework the script. They have been doing that. That has delayed the movies. The original movie release was May of 19.
It's going to be November.
It's going to be December of 19. So they're all going to come out December now, which is fine. That's no big.
Does that mean the next Star Wars that comes out will be like last December? Iced Earth reference? Hey-o.
I got something to say later, but let's get through this trailer first.
Sure. We're at the Porgs. They're an interesting looking thing.
We see some Poe flying around, being a badass. Phasma and Finn going at it, finally.
This is not going to go the way you think. Fulfill.
Of course, they are. Well, this looks like a really action-packed movie in some spots. Rey getting tortured
by Snoke.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
And then Kylo reaches out a hand.
Okay, so observation. The Leia scene where he's flying happens after this. Because in that scene, if you look, Kylo doesn't have as big of a scar on his face. And when he's flying his new TIE fighter thing towards Leia, is at least how they cut the trailer, it's a big gash.
Well, it kind of looks like he's got like a gash where they put something over it.
Yeah, like some sort of like medical thing.
Yeah.
Wire mesh, or maybe he's becoming robotic.
I don't know. I have seen pictures of him with like Sith eyes, but I've heard that not to buy into that. Now, there was a picture I saw recently.
Okay, sure, bring it on. Just want to say that trailer was awesome. Ryan Johnson, the director for this movie, did warn people, like, you might not want to watch this. It is pretty spoiler-laden, and there are a lot of things that could be spoilery in there. Phasma's got a dope new weapon, by the way.
Yes.
Looks like a dope baton or something.
Now, I saw an image.
Okay.
And it was on Facebook, but I'm not going to be able to track this damn thing down. And it had every single Star Wars poster on it.
Whoa.
From 1 to, whatever. Now, and see, this is like all wrong, because then it's like the posters that they were showing to make their point, they all have a certain poster to them. But they were saying that all the villains are looming in the background.
Uh-huh. And actually, you can see, I've seen a lot of pictures of the most recent Last Jedi,
and it's this one right here.
The new poster, and
Luke is at the very top.
Luke is at the top, but if you look, it's not about Luke. You can, like, make out Vader's face. Like, it's there. And that's crazy. So, are they going to... Oh, my God, what if they resurrect Vader?
See, okay. There's actually been theories on that, of resurrecting, like, the dark force part of Vader. There's been talk, because there's been talk of, like, Vader and Anakin really kind of became two different people, and that Vader was so strong in the Force, they almost became his own his own entity.
Yeah.
I don't know if I subscribe to that theory, because I like the idea that Anakin lost everything when he turned.
Yeah.
And that's the irony, because he turned to save Padme. He turned to save his kids. And by doing so, sealed their fate. And so then, when everybody's gone, when Padme's gone, Yoda's gone, Obi-Wan's gone, the Jedi are gone, all he has left is the guy who talked him into this. He's dead. He has nothing. Anakin ceases to exist, and he just lets Vader take over. And he becomes that until he finds out and realizes that Luke is alive, or that Luke is his son. And then, in that instant, when the Emperor tells him that, he's like, "Can that be true?" And he's like, "Search your feelings," And then it's like, the mind starts working. He starts working overtime. He's got to find him.
Yeah.
And of course, it's like, well, of course we got to find him. We got to bring him to the Emperor. But what if we can turn him? And that's how warped he is at that point, is because he's not thinking, I get to see my son again. He's thinking, I get to see my son again, and then he can be with me. We can be together.
And be evil together.
Yes. We can overthrow the Emperor finally. I could have done it a long time ago, but just why? He goes, now there's a reason. Now I'll become the master. Luke will become my apprentice. The power of... He has all this stuff going in. It's not vocalized. It's not ever thought. But just think about where he's going. And then whenever he's fighting him, and here's Luke, barely trained Jedi, going toe-to-toe with him, struggling, but still has so much strength. And then Vader's not necessarily trying, but he's impressed. He's like, wow, this kid, awesome. All right, let's take him to the Emperor, And then he's like, but then there's the back of the head. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. And then when it's not until he actually inflicts damage onto Vader, Vader's like, fuck this. It's over. Bam, cuts his arm off. He's like, okay, it's over now. Don't want to kill you. Come with me. He's trying to do everything he can.
Yeah.
But then it's that in that moment, Anakin's alive.
Yeah.
And then you go through the storyline of Jedi. Anakin's there. And the Emperor can feel this. But see, the Emperor, he knows what Vader's doing.
And he's hopeful that he can actually double turn Vader and have Luke betray Vader to become the next
new apprentice.
Apprentice, yes.
And then so all this happens. And in the end, of course, Anakin chooses to save Luke. Because when Luke refuses, the Emperor's like, all right, gonna have to kill you then. And then because he's like, at least I still have Vader, But then Vader's like, nah, no. So in my opinion, that's when Vader died, is when Anakin chose. So the actual revival of Vader, I don't know if I like that. What I do like, however, is that Vader has permanently scarred Anakin. Anakin's there, but he knows what that he's forever tainted by it, like in the Force. Like so, when you first see him in the Force, and they had the Force Ghost version of him in the Return of the Jedi. Of course, the original version was the old guy, and then they replaced him with Hayden Christensen. Yeah. I've heard that his Force Ghost might appear in this movie, but I've also heard it might be like a weird mechanical, like you're going to see
part
like
of him is
like a distorted version of like because his spirit is distorted and it's forever distorted.
Okay, so I have a question. If that's the case, does that change and negate the fucking of Return of the Jedi where they put Hayden Christensen in at the end? Because if they're going to distort his Force Ghost now,
they have to go back and do
they have to go back then, which means they have to edit it again and again and again.
Maybe
and again
what you can do is have it be like, you might be able to explain it away.
Do Force Ghost age? Because he's going to have aged substantially.
No, okay. From what I understand, Force Ghosts can sort of choose. They can, like when they manifest.
Oh, how they manifest?
They can kind of like take their form because obviously, if they're ever going to do an Obi-Wan, they're not going to be able to do Sir Alec Guinness. They could, but I wouldn't. You have Ewan McGregor here. He's all about coming back and doing more stuff.
Jedi Jesus.
So have him come back and have him be looking like maybe you could age him a little bit and make him look a little bit older from.
And he's already I mean, Ewan McGregor was younger.
Yeah, he's really young.
The trilogy with him, but he has aged. I mean, 99. That's almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a little age on him anyways, so you can actually do a beautiful thing of telling an earlier post Episode 3 story and build him into being... Actually, you said it best, the idea for the Obi-Wan story of having him like have his own side quest that leads up to literally...
the moment.
Everything is done, I get to take a break, and you hear... or whatever the fucking Tusken Raiders are...
To the point where, I just like the irony of that because everyone thinks, oh, so what? He's just in a desert this whole time? No, he's in and out. He doesn't really get a chance to rest, but he never stops training.
No,
he never stops training because then, of course, he learns how to live on within the Force. Now, there's also the rumor that Snoke is like someone who feeds off the Force and Force essence and everything like that. So what if he can like drain, like say if you were a Jedi, he could drain you of your life force and feed that off him to make himself younger. He's basically like a Jedi or a Force vampire.
So does that mean that it's possible we're going to see him reverse age? Because it's interesting. Andy Serkis plays Snoke. He's also played like Gollum, and he was in Age of Ultron and whatnot. But
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. Thank you. He was Caesar in Planet of the Apes. But does that mean that we will maybe get? Because that begs an interesting question. If he can do that to living Jedi, can he take from Force Ghosts as well?
That's exactly what I was saying, because how else would you make this one villain like
even more villainous
than Palpatine?
Just to have him fucking have no regard for who is what and
have
take as much as he can.
Finally, he can't live on in the Force. He is gone forever. Obi-Wan or Yoda.
Whoa. That would be intense. And actually, I feel like someone said that there were rumors Yoda was going to be a part of this. So that's interesting that you bring that up.
I don't know. Again, there's a lot we don't know.
Yeah, too much.
But then I've also heard that Snoke could be, and I think I talked about it in one of the episodes, hearkening all the way back to the Old Republic. And that after this trilogy, we could actually see movies centered on the Old Republic, which it has me ecstatic, because you can have old Mandalorians that, other than just Jango Boba Fett. You can go into that whole story about the Mandalorian War. You can go into so many things. You can look into the beginning of the Sith and how they were an actual empire, or even the Jedis.
I don't know if you heard this, and I feel like we have a lot of like interesting little rumors about Star Wars. But first of all, I want to say I love the idea of doing Old Republic as a whole. Like they've got essentially what you're going to get for your Star Wars stories are going to be the things that happen to these main characters leading up to that first movie that we originally got. And of course, Old Republic would be awesome because then that could lead up to anything and anywhere, and you could do limitless history with Star Wars lore and just build a whole new universe and really be genius about it, and it could be great. I had a question for you, and I kind of lost it. Yeah, that happens sometimes with me, Brando. It's like my brain's going a million miles a second about The Last Jedi, and I had a theory for you, and it slips. Damn it. It'll come to me.
So we have another trailer. That is the
New Mutants.
New Mutants, the new X-Men universe.
I don't know if people know this, but Deadpool debuted in New Mutants 98. Mm-hmm. And Domino did not appear in New Mutants. She was in X-Force 2. But there are a few characters who have had bigger storylines in the New Mutants realm. But I don't really think New Mutants takes on a new meaning until I think Joss Whedon did a run of New Mutants comics like in the early 2000s. We might have to fact check that, but apparently there's a new TV show or movie coming out.
It says official trailer, so
Maisie Williams is in it.
I think it's a movie.
It is a movie.
I want to say they were talking about this movie originally like after Apocalypse.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense.
Okay, so we're going to watch this, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to play it and talk about it. Neither one of us have seen this yet, though.
New Jedi, Last Mutant.
This trailer is appropriate for all audiences.
Also, this is supposed to be a horror-based.
That's what I hear.
So,
I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
See a hallway.
Please do.
Looks like PT.
I want you to respond truthfully.
Am I scared? Yes.
Have you ever hurt someone?
See a graveyard.
Yes.
With just numbers and crosses on them.
Mutant graves.
Could be.
Oh my god. Brick in a wall. All creepy. Is that like a polygraph?
Yeah, they're hooked up. They're measuring brainwaves, maybe.
Okay.
Asking questions, seeing how the brain reacts.
Sure.
Yes.
Looks like this is like maybe an asylum.
It looks like it, yeah.
Do you know what mutants are?
There's the Marvel logo.
Did you know baby rattlesnakes are more dangerous than adult ones? They haven't learned how to control how much
Taking
venom
blood
they
samples.
secrete.
Medical facility. I think this is this is an asylum.
That's magic, by the way. We just showed her.
That's why you're here.
Is that the kid from Stranger Things?
No.
What's he been in?
That's the that was
the older
Will's
brother.
older brother. Yeah.
Boom!
Holy shit.
Snow falling.
What is this place?
Face coming through the wall. Interesting. Oh, flash cuts there.
You've been through a lot. Get some rest.
Yeah.
They definitely capture the horror essence of that. April 13th, you know what's crazy about that date? Friday the 13th. It's the next one we have.
Awesome.
I only know that because we did that show in Fort Wayne and we're curious when the next Friday the 13th was going to be, so we looked it up. There's one in April and there's one in July.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I'm actually digging that trailer quite a bit.
Did not at all feel superhero.
No.
Not a single bit of that looked superhero. It kind of looked almost like a riff scene off of Francis's torture room in Deadpool. You know, where he had all the different mutants he was doing experiments on. So that was really kind of the only like similar tying bridge.
It gave me vibes from like this could be a season of American Horror Story.
Yes, very much so. And it seems like it's got a really nice cast. The only mutant I directly noticed, and I only noticed because her hair is so iconic, was Magic.
Okay.
She has the ability to open up portals to other dimensions and stuff. She's very Doctor Strange in that regard. She's actually fought like Dormammu and all kinds of different, like Mephisto. She actually, I think, got trapped by Mephisto at one point in hell with him.
I'm looking up the cast.
Okay,
for
sure.
New Mutants to see what all characters are, in fact, in this. Maisie Williams plays Ron Sinclair.
Okay, don't know that name off the top of my head. Probably a mutant.
And then, yeah, because I mean, we're getting the character names. Oh, Wolfsbane.
Okay. And
then Magic is played by Anna Taylor-Joy. Cannonball, Charlie Heaton. That's the kid from
Cannonball. I feel like no, that was Speedball. Speedball was a part of the New Mutants team that starts Civil War.
And then we have Henry Zaga as Sunspot, Blue Hunt as Mirage.
Okay, Sunspot and Mirage. That's awesome. They're mutants.
And then, so that's all we have so far.
Okay, so that's okay. It seems like it's got a smaller cast, actually.
Well, there's probably more. It just hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah, spoilers and stuff.
Yeah, there might be that. But you know what? I'm actually really happy with this because I've said before that when we have a world where the entire year is shaped around superhero movies, they get kind of old. As much as we love superheroes, my drive to want to go see them 4 times a year gets low.
Yeah.
And so I got to pick. And number one, I got to pick and choose. I'm not going to go see Thor. I am going to go see Justice League.
Okay.
I can't see both.
Yeah.
And that's just, I'm like, I look at that and say, which one do I want to see more? Which one am I more curious about?
Justice League, because I feel like Thor is a hit guaranteed. Like, they're going to knock it out of the park. Everyone's just talking about how amazing it is. James Gunn wrote an amazing review about Thor, and it just was like, okay, well, I know I'm going to see it. It's one of those situations where I'm going to have to, just for the sake of this podcast, go see both. But not just because I'm having to see both. I want to see both. But I am generally more curious about what Justice League is going to be.
Yes.
Because the way that the teasers and the trailers and everything for BVS were, and then what we got,
yeah,
and the way things have been so confusing. I don't know if you saw this. There's only one directing credit in the latest Justice League screenings.
I know.
And it's Zack Snyder.
I know, because what they did is that Zack got the directing credit, and Joss is getting a screenplay credit.
Okay. I thought that was probably Josh just being like, look, I will do whatever I can to help you guys out. You guys just signed me to do Batgirl, and I'm really excited to bring that to light.
They're doing a Nightwing at some point, too.
Oh, I actually think that they have a director for that already.
Do they?
Like, they have a director. I don't think they've started casting, but I feel like they announced somebody. I can't think of his name.
Right.
As the director. I'm sure we could probably, at some point in our lives, Google that.
So there's this whole thing about, is there DC, EU, universe, this and that. Oh, this one's not here, this one's in here. And we live in a world where now we can actually say, well, you know what, let's do this movie. It's not associated with this, but let's do this. And somebody asked me if I could pick, because we talked about it with Terminator, and Halloween's doing it, where they make a sequel that ignores other sequels.
Okay.
So the new Terminator is ignoring all the other Terminators past
After 2. Yep.
The new Halloween movie is ignoring all the sequels except the first movie. It's going to be the first movie in this new Halloween movie.
Wow. I actually did not know that.
And it's going to have
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis in it. So, it's like scratching your head going, what are they going to do? So then a guy who's become a friend of mine at work, he asked me, if you could pick one movie and do that to, which would it be? And I'm like, Keaton's Batman.
Oh, fuck. Old man Batman.
I would ignore Forever and Robin.
Sure, makes sense.
And have it be a sequel to Batman Returns.
Sure.
And have it be an old man Batman. And then you can even do old man Joker and bring Nicholson back.
Holy shit.
In some way, I don't know how he survived, but you can even have Pfeiffer make a cameo.
And I have an interesting thought there. You could really do the story one of two ways. Build it around Bruce training his Robin protege to take his mantle, which is great, obviously. Or you could have it as Batman Beyond style, where Keaton is picked the mantle
I would
up.
actually not have him be training. I would have it be similar to a Dark Knight Rises or Dark Knight Returns.
Okay, I got you.
He would have to come back.
All right.
Because here's the thing. I know that one of the reasons why Michael Keaton decided he didn't want to do it anymore is because, especially after Returns, and in Returns, Batman's there. There's not a whole lot of character arc with Batman. It's all about Catwoman and Penguin. And in Shrek.
I can't believe you remembered Christopher Walken's character. That was awesome. because he was something Shrek. I can't think of his first name.
Max
Shrek. Thank you.
Now, Keaton was not like instantly on board for doing a sequel, but it was like the team was back involved. Tim Burton was involved. He goes, all right, let's see what we can do. So with the third one, he was even more so like, I don't need to. What else more can I do with this character? And then the moment that Tim Burton was out, he was out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that sucks because then you have to recast Batman. But with this, imagine what Keaton, the good of an actor he is, can do with an old man Batman character.
It would be amazing. It would be next level. And that's another thing too. What do you do with Joker? He could still be up to his antics. It's not like Nicholson did any really overly physical acting.
Right,
But you could definitely make it to where he could be putting a bug in someone else's ear. You could bring Scarecrow, a younger Scarecrow, into the fold that is being groomed by Joker.
You can harken back to the story arc that they were going to do for one of the movies where Harley Quinn was going to be his daughter. Yeah. Instead of doing a direct love interest with Harley Quinn, have it be like his daughter. And then what you could do, and then you can also do like Old Man Batman, where you can almost revitalize some of that script, because some of that script I actually liked, where they were going to bring back Nicholson as Joker, but it was all going to be in Bruce's mind. And you can do sort of like a Nicholson Keaton, where Joker lives on, kind of like they did in Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Where like as Bruce is getting older, he can't escape Nicholson, because in that version of the lore, he killed his parents.
Yeah.
So he's always there.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can have part of it be where Bruce is getting older. He's starting to lose it a little bit. And then he just, he's in the house and he just hears the laughter. It's like, and then maybe someone else could be with him, like, what's up, Bruce? Oh, nothing. I thought I'd hurt bats or something. You can just say that have it be somebody who doesn't know that he's Batman and he says that. Must be bats in the attic or something.
I love this concept. I would love to I like to see that fleshed out. I think would be awesome. There's so much potential there, and you've only got. I mean, I'm not trying to be dark here. Both those actors have limited time.
I agree. And I haven't seen Nicholson do anything for years.
He just recently did The Bucket List with Morgan Freeman, right? And there was something after that. He did like a smaller indie movie like 2 years ago, but he doesn't have to do a whole lot, man. I mean, look at him and guys like Bill Murray. They get to fucking just hang out and do whatever they want. Bill Murray, did you know he has a 1-800 number you can call at any time and give him an idea and a pitch, and if he likes it, he'll fucking call you back.
That's badass.
And he listens to every single one. Yeah, I was actually quite shocked.
Okay, so The Bucket List came out in 2007.
Okay.
Before that it was Departed, Anger Management.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he does only what he wants to do. In 2010 he did How Do You Know?
I feel like that's more indie though. It wasn't a major.
It's got Owen Wilson, Paul Rudd, Jack Nicholson, and Reese Witherspoon.
That's an interesting cast. That could be really good.
And then there's a movie coming out. There is just it's a remake of German film Tony Erdmann about a dad who creates an alter ego for himself in an effort to connect with his polar opposite daughter. And it's going to have Kristen Wiig and Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
And so far, those are the only two people announced. There's a writer, Maren Ade, or Odd. I'm not sure how you would say that. Based on screenplay by, that's her credit. And then Lena Dunham has done the screenplay. There's no other.
That's Lena Dunham's from Girls.
But, he doesn't do a whole lot. Now, I know that he has a really big fondness for his time in the Bat universe. Yeah, he did a part. It was like a documentary thing, behind the scenes thing where he did an interview, and he absolutely loved it. And it's like if there was ever an opportunity to do something more with if everything looked good, if imagine getting Burton back to finish off and cap that.
Oh man!
Because Burton and Keaton were already aren't they doing Beetlejuice?
Well, they've been trying to do Beetlejuice 2 for like 3 years now, and it just still is not happening. I don't know if it's still in development or if they're still trying to finalize the script or whatnot.
But Keaton's been doing a lot in the last couple of years.
He's been very busy. He's did Birdman was an awesome movie. I think he was in
Minions.
He does a voice in Minions. He was obviously in Spider-Man: Homecoming, which was an awesome movie. That movie I recently re-watched for the third time now, and I will stand by saying that his final line in that movie is the defining characteristic of his Vulture. If I could have killed him, if I could have killed him, he'd already be dead. You know, like because the Scorpion asks him, you know, I heard you know who the Spider Kid is, you know, and he's like, if I knew, he'd already be dead. Like that's just, it's so great. What do you? I'm gonna throw a really curveball question your way. Well, we see this a lot. Speaking of Nicholson, or not Nicholson, speaking of Michael Keaton here, and you look at some of the people that have done this in the DC Marvel universes, if you could take Jack Nicholson, give him any Marvel role that maybe hasn't been cast or that is something that they've not necessarily touched. It doesn't have to be Marvel and only in the MCU. I'm talking it could be across your X-Men universe or any of that. Is there anybody you could see Nicholson just like sliding into a brilliant role as?
That's difficult.
I have a really good idea, but I don't think they would be able to pull it off based on the current MCU lore. Because he's older now, and they could do a CGI thing with him that would really be badass. How cool would it be to make him MODOK? Just a giant floating head. You know? I mean, it would just be different, and then he would be able to take his ability to make any character interesting, which is something Nicholson has just a track record for.
If you had a young Nicholson, even before Batman 89.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Like,
so,
Shining Nicholson?
Shining Nicholson.
Okay.
Cletus Cassidy.
Oh, fuck, dude. He would be an amazing Carnage. Next level Carnage, dude. Holy
I'm like,
shit.
as I'm trying to think, I'm like, that's what I thought of. I'm like, no, he's too old. Because that's what's challenging about it. Because you don't want to put him in something that's like the equivalent. Like, you don't want to make him Green Goblin.
No,
that's too easy. And I'm just like,
too obvious.
Carnage would be amazing if he were younger. If he had that, if he had that youth going in him, because he's already kind of played that kind of psycho killer.
He could play also. He could play. What the fuck is his name? The guy that's Spider Slayer, Alistar Smythe, I think.
Okay, yeah.
He's like the older dude that ends up getting the robotic body and like is like the Spider Slayer. That would be interesting because then it's Jack Nicholson's head green screened with the robotic body. You don't have to make him do too much work. You can limit him
around it.
Yeah, that's awesome. But Brando, I don't know. Do we have much left to do today? On
we have a lot to do today.
On this specific podcast.
I don't know. There was not a whole lot of stuff coming out. We have The Walking Dead coming back, I think,
next week.
So
that'll be probably not 162, but 163. We'll be able to talk about it because it'll come out after we've recorded 162.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to that. Have you seen the first intro to the show yet? It's Carl walking with a gas can.
Okay.
It completely reimagines like Rick's first walking with a gas can. They recreated that same area.
Oh, that's awesome.
With the cars and his X spot and the certain kind of toys and all that stuff. And he hears a noise and he gets down and he sees feet, just like he sees Rick saw the little girl's feet and picked up a bear, but it's actually somebody talking.
Who is it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. They don't reveal.
Because Carl comes out with the gun and it cuts it off.
Of course it does. God, they're so good at hyping it.
But I actually saw a side by side, like season 1 first thing, and then. Because they did that whole first thing, that's like the preamble, prologue of him walking and then him shooting the dead girl.
Yep.
And then it goes into the actual story, and then it goes into him with Shane and him getting shot. But I'm pretty excited for this season of The Walking Dead.
It's going to be great. Walking Dead with the all-out war storyline, probably all season, I would guess.
Dude, with the things that I've seen and things that I'm putting together in my head. At some point, they filmed stuff where Negan had a really big beard.
Oh. Does that mean we get time jump maybe at the mid-season?
Well, the first thing we saw in the trailer was Rick laying in bed.
Old man.
With a walker. And I don't think this
Hold on, walking stick. Don't call it a walker because
sorry.
he's in the room. There's a walker going towards him.
Sorry, he's cane. He is a cane. But it would I would love it for them to be teasing this new sort of it almost seems like a hazy dream world.
Yeah.
Then at the end, it actually goes there, and we get to see more of it. And it ends with Jeffrey Dean Morgan sitting in the cell, and he has a greasy wig on with the beard, and that's how it the season ends, and it goes into the next season where then you can start telling the story after the time. Because I don't want to do the time jump in the middle. I would rather do I would do the storytelling where there are certain episodes where kind of like how Breaking Bad did it, where season 2 where it was the black and white. Mm-hmm. Every couple of episodes you got a snippet of what's going on here. I would love for them to sprinkle that in with this season.
That was the season that they teased the flight crash, right?
Yes.
And there were certain episodes
where you can actually put it out. But for this, have episode 1, episode 3, episode 4, episode 6.
Yeah.
Then 8. 8 has a longer one, and then that's the jump, or that's the mid-season. Episode 9 has one, and then you sprinkle where you just get a little taste, and you get
Are we seeing the future? Is this a dream?
Is it? Yes, it could, because it should be for the viewer, where it's hazy, where you're not sure. Is this Rick? Is this him having a dream? Is this has Negan killed him, and now this is his last thoughts? Is this what Rick sees for everybody? Is this what he visions after the war? And then the last thing is, this is how it ends.
Oh, man, and that's a great cliffhanger with Negan in the cell.
Mm-hmm.
Totally reverse parallels to how Season 6 ends, where Negan is in charge and then taking the lead and you don't know what's happening. But how dope would it be? Season 9 starts off with Negan's cell is empty. And he's out like in the comics, but then does nothing.
Don't start the season off that way. Start the first episode, maybe episode 3 or 4.
Well, the hard thing is, though, they're going to also have to find a way to brilliantly introduce, Magna and company into the fold, because they're a big part of Time Jump and the community moving forward.
And, of course, the Whisperers. So.
Yeah, so.
We'll be looking at that, and then going into November, we'll hopefully get to see...
New issue of Walking Dead in November, too.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm talking about. The whole... we'll get to see more hopefully with what happened with Beta. So
I'm hoping that Jesus' ninja skills pay off and he doesn't just get murked. Or that Aaron just wakes up out of a dead sleep and just blows Beta's head away.
There's a guy
behind you
over there. He doesn't know. I like how I went right into the John C. Reilly.
He
doesn't know what he's doing with the stick and with the knives, and he's just gonna come at me. And what the fuck, man?
That's awesome. Do you want to go do some karate in the garage?
You been playing my drums? Why else?
No.
I was watching Cops. Cops don't come on till 6.
I love Step Brothers. I love.
You know what? In my life, I was very anti-comedy at the time, and that was one of the very few movies that I'm watching it, and I'm like, no. And then there's a few things in that movie that just got me and broke me.
And you were like, okay.
And it was the Cops thing.
Okay.
It was the aimlessly, purposely sleepwalking, putting pillows in the oven and shit. That got me. And then because then it was things that were they would try really hard to be funny, and I wouldn't laugh at it. But then it was the treehouse, and he's like, pirate hats. That got me.
Oh, that's awesome. I got to rewatch that movie.
All right. I think it's going to do it for us here today. We got some other podcasts to do, and we're running a little behind.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll just do all the regular, typical plugs. As always, check out Journey into Comics on all the different social media sites, whether it be Journey into Comics podcast on Facebook or Journey into Comics on Instagram or JIC Network on Twitter. I didn't fuck it up.
There you go.
And Journey into Comics on YouTube. Also, check us out on all the different podcasting apps, whether it be Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, iTunes, all the other ones
that you can use to access the iTunes feed or whatever.
Yeah, this was an awesome episode 161, and we're just starting our day, so we'll see you guys later. Brandon, thank you so much for being a part of this episode. It's
always
great to get together and do these, and it's cool that we are kind of doing that more and more now. So
hopefully we'll be doing it a lot more often in the future.
Hell yeah, my friend. Well, if that's going to do it for this week of Journey into Comics, episode 161, what did we say we were going to call it?
We didn't say anything.
Maybe like New Jedi, Last Mutants or something? I don't know. It's just riffing on kind of some of the stuff we talked about. But if that's going to do it for this week, I'm Nate.
I'm Brando.
See you guys later, and keep filling your brains with shit.